when I grow up. I do not want to be like Bailey and Curly. No way. I have higher standards than that.
They make me laugh. At the same time, scare the shit out of me. What will they say next?
Welcome to the roller coaster world of Bailey and Curly. Unfiltered. While this voice may be artificial, the unfiltered musings from our hosts certainly are not. Make yourself comfortable, grab a drink, and let's get unfiltered. Here's your hosts, Bailey and Curly.
Hey there and welcome. It's once again, I think we're episode 14 of the Bailey and Curly Unfiltered. So how has your week been, Matthew Bailey?
Tony, Carl, how are you?
I'm fantastic.
Week's been good, man. Just working. Saw a mate off at the airport the other week. I got called into work, so I was lucky enough to see him off heading home back to LA, which is a very weird sort of experience. The fact that he could go back to LA was weird. Yeah,
how does that work nowadays?
Well, he's an Australian, but he has a visa in America, so he's lived over there for the last 10 years. Yeah. So he came down into Australia in Feb or March, and obviously sort of been stuck here and decided to make the most of it and do some work on the house. And then he's been putting off getting his like permanent residency, the green card to live be a permanent resident. So yeah, he went back and yeah, that was very weird. And now he's in LA and yeah, it was weird. But
it's still, you get this concept that no one's like traveling internationally. There are still people traveling internationally.
Yeah, I seen it. Me and Mum are seeing a guy next month by the name of James Smith, and he's just released his second book, and he does a book tour, and he has his friend come up. He has his friend come along to do it, and he's like, they're both from the UK. But James has been in Australia since March, but his mate Darren, he's been back in the UK, and he's just come out of quarantine, and he actually really smashed it in quarantine. He did 10,000 steps a day in his hotel room. Yeah, he was smashing it. He made quarantine look fun.
You would have to have a mindset that you were going to do it. Like when some of the runners that I follow, some of the running channel that I follow, one of the girls, Anna from the running channel, she ran a marathon in her backyard, and it was like a 16-meter path, and she ran a marathon, 42 kilometers. Just do the sums. How many times is that up and back? It's just amazing. So I think you
put your mind to it.
Yeah, 10,000 steps in a motel room. I don't reckon I'm doing that. So, and
he shared everything on his story. He had his friends sending him food. He did a podcast or two. He was on BBC News as well. So wow, he did really well. So, and they're actually leaving in a couple of days because they live in Bondi. So the book tour is Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. Possibly, I think, Adelaide, because he said Perth and New Zealand have been rescheduled. But they're leaving Sydney for 2 weeks to then be able to enter Brisbane.
Okay.
Yes. So
Sydney's now open to Queensland. They finally stopped their little petty squabbles over the border and fully open. They don't have to quarantine. They can come in. And once again, I just get amazed at people because, bookings from Sydney people booking to come to Queensland for, weekends, days off, bookings went up 100%.
And I know you've mentioned that before, and we laughed because then all of a sudden Queensland was closed and no one could go there. And then I heard today on the radio, I think about, Queensland's open, book again. It's like, you guys will be fucking shut next week. No one,
Yeah.
no one wants to.
Who
no one wants to
knows?
book.
I mean, I can't even believe we closed the travel bubble that we had with New Zealand because I had one unknown case of the South African version of COVID.
That's
So,
right.
So New Zealand's been world's best practice in dealing with this, and they apparently, and they get held up as the number one country. And then lo and behold, Australia's sitting there saying, "Nah, we can't risk getting over there." It's just ridiculous.
New Zealand and Australia, we're islands, and I don't know. It's probably the same up your way. You talk to people about it, and at least we're not as bad as the UK, or we're not as bad as America. And then I say, but there's more people there. Oh yeah, but blah blah. Some people just want to believe the negative and just want to be negative.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons Victoria was so bad in their second wave, because the density in Melbourne is probably I wouldn't know the population density comparisons, but
5 million people here.
Considering the difference, I would say Melbourne is the most people dense city in Australia. So if it was going to get away, it's going to get away in the most dense places. And, we've got winter. We're coming into like those other seasons, and we've still got winter to come. So who knows what that's going to bring this time around.
Yeah, but in positive news, I spent the weekend in Canberra.
Yes,
recording music, which is really good, because now I've got an idea of when all the recording will be done. I'm back up on the 13th, which is 2.5 weeks.
Yep.
And then
fingers
crossed, and then hopefully, it's an anxious thing until I actually am on the plane.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Then,
and then hopefully at the end of February I'll get up as well. Just waiting on the roster for work. So exciting stuff. Like everything else is sort of falling into place now.
Excellent.
As well, like just with like the artwork, I'm doing it myself now. I started it yesterday, and once we finish this, I'll get back onto it. It's sort of nice to have a lot of time to create something, and knowing going forward, because once the recording's done, everything else can get done without me up there anyway, because Mark can do the rest, like the bass and the drums, and we can just do little Zoom sessions on things and work out what sounds I want. But it was a really good weekend.
Awesome. Because I'm thinking that with the show, I think there's some really good opportunities to get some structure around some stuff, and I think Bailey's Biz is part of that process. So what's been up in the world, what's been happening with the world of Bailey, how's his music coming along, and it's always good to hear that sort of shit. So that's cool.
No, it's good because it's been such a journey, and for people that discover us, in months' time, if they want to binge watch them all, they'll hear me talk about where my music is, and then eventually, and hopefully in about 6 months' time, it's all out in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of,
as best we can tell, the pub is shut. That's not appropriate. I can't be any clearer than that. That's what's most important. The pub, that's what's most important. Beers. We had a case last week. As best we can tell, the dinner party started with one case. By the end of the dinner party, almost everybody at the dinner party had a case of beers. People simply take this seriously, rapidly. Get on the beers. That's your civic duty. That's what's most important, and that's what must be done. Beers. Get on the beers.
And now, Bailey, I know that you're having some struggles
Hopefully
with
the listeners
the
can
audio
hear
from that. Yeah. So, you were the first person that I was aware of, well, in my circle, that were talking about get on the beers. And how cool was that it made? I don't know if a politician
Get on the beers.
Get on the beers.
Number 12, Triple J.
Made number 12 on the Triple J Hot 100. Pretty awesome stuff. Pretty
Number
awesome
12,
stuff.
hey.
Hey, look, and another thing here. Gabs puts out their top 100 craft beers for the year. And out of the top 10, I think there were 6 Queensland craft breweries that were in there. So Ballistic Brewery, there's a brewery on the Sunshine Coast called Your Mates. There was Bolter from the Gold Coast. And I think they had 6 of the top 10 beers. So Queensland rules in the craft beer scene.
Oh, wow.
So, isn't that just
beer do you
typical
drink,
Australia?
Tony?
Sorry? Isn't that just typical in Australia?
So
we
what
do a
beer do you
top
drink?
100. What beer do I drink? I actually, the ones that were in the top 10, the Bolter XPA is a nice little beer. Ballistic Brewery do one called the Hawaiian Haze, which is a lovely little drop, to be honest. So Your Mates Larry has got Your Mates Brewery has got a beer called Larry, which
Your
is a
Mates
pale
Larry.
ale. So, and it's called Your Mates Larry.
Yeah.
So, and that's, they're all really good beers. My favourite beer would have to be Stone and Wood, Pacific Ale out of the Byron Bay area. So, but yeah, it's all
Speaking
it's
of
all happening here.
so I actually had my first drink for the year on Saturday night.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
First, it's not a concerted effort not to have a drink.
Nah, just going back to just drinking when there's an occasion, and going up and recording, and was and my mate who picked me up, and he only turned 18 a couple of weeks ago, so I got to have a first drink with him out in the town in old Canberra town. Yeah, and Dad's anniversary is coming up, so I'll have a drink then, and then probably, who knows? Probably when this record's done in a couple of months.
Yeah, you've got to have one.
I've
got to have one.
Yeah, mate, 1 or 10. I've never been like a massive drinker, and it is such a cultural thing in Australia. Such a cultural thing, and I hate that it's so normalized as well. Yeah.
I'm going to go off the grog for February, so this is my last weekend of having a beer or two, and then I just need to get some sharpness back, I guess. That's for me. I like to give the body a bit of a break, and who knows where that's going to lead. Yeah, 28 days without a beer, and who knows. Because usually what I find when I do go off and stop having a beer,
that's why you do it in February, because it's only 28 days.
No, only 28 days, the shortest month of the year. So if you're going to give up for a month, it's got to be the shortest month. But I normally just, and no doubt you felt the same when you were off the grog, you just feel better for it. You're sharper.
First few months, my sleep was better.
Yeah.
And now I've realised the last month I've learned this, that when you go to bed with alcohol in your system, is it REMs or something? You're sleeping. You don't go into such a deep sleep when you've got the alcohol in your system, so it affects your sleep. So you sleep a lot better. And I find if I was going to drink, I try and do it like in the afternoon, and then so you don't wake up with a hangover and Because I found if I drink just before bed, wake up with a headache.
Yeah, absolutely. The old afternoon, Sunday afternoon, having your last beer at 6:30, so to speak, just so you can get up and get going in the morning. Hey, tell me a story. Have you ever heard of a band called This Is Serious Mum? Tism.
No.
Mate,
This Is Serious Mumism.
Yeah, their band name is This Is Serious Mum, and the shortness, the abbreviation for that is TISM. And look them up when you get a chance. But I was sharing with my daughter the other day on a weekend. We were just sitting back, and I had they've got some really classic songs, and some of their songs are just they're just really hard to explain. So one of their songs is called "What Are Ya," and the chorus of the song goes, "What are ya? You're a wanker." So this is the type of band that they are. One that I actually didn't know about until the weekend, because I've never been a huge TISM fan, but I knew some of their songs. But one of their songs is called I won't use the C word, but I'm a C word, but I'm not
I'm just looking at it now.
C
Yeah.
word.
I might be but I'm not a, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's the name of their song. But I was playing, I found a live gig from them back in 1998 and Home Bake, and they were one of these gimmick bands. And they've come on stage. They're in red jumpsuits. They've got spikes down their arms and their legs. And, it's just this stage full of people. And they bring this fucking totem tennis thing out in the middle of the stage. And two of them are playing totem tennis. While the rest, they are just such a classic band. So for anyone listening, if you haven't heard of TISM, look them up. I'm sure you will get a laugh out of some of the stuff that they do. Totally politically incorrect. But, back in the 90s, pretty cool stuff. Hey, I do want to play a song. So now, because one of the segments that I want to talk about is undiscovered music. And, there is so much music out there in the world that we just really only get like the top 2 or 3% of music into our own vernacular. But this is a band that, is from Adelaide, a guy called Tave. They've got a band called the Blow Up Sweethearts, and I love the name. Tave and the band, they actually recorded this album on Magnetic Island up there in Townsville. I first met Tave when they were up living in Townsville. But I'll just play a little snippet so we don't get bloody caught up with copyright strikes and all that sort of shit. I don't know if we will, because they are just a really cool little band. But this is a song called Jeff, George and Grace, and I just love the way it kicks off, and I love the vocals are incredibly different. So bear with me. Here we go. I hope you can hear that. You can just imagine you're sitting in that jazz cafe bar.
The lights are low, Jeff Buckley's on the stereo, and the smell of summer rains in your perfume. Lightning sprawls across the sky. Jeff says it's a last goodbye, but we just keep on dancing round the room.
And I got a feeling that everything is falling into place. Now I know the meaning of eminence, elegance, dignity, and grace.
This is a band called Ups and Downs. They're a Brisbane band back in the 80s, and they did a cover of the Neil Diamond classic.
But
Looks like this platform is not the one for Undiscovered, but they're just two undiscovered songs that I just thought I'd share with yourself and the listeners, and you're going to have to listen now until it comes out. So,
I am.
so what's your plans moving forward? What's happening for you?
Moving forward, well, as weird as this sounds to say, I'm getting my braces off on Wednesday.
Oh, Wooshka.
Yeah, so that'll be weird. Not that anyone can fucking see it wearing a mask anyway. I'll see how long I can keep it going for until people realise my braces are off.
How long you had them on for?
4.5 years. So they went on August 25, 2018.
Yeah.
So
It was interesting because because no one's even going to know why you've got a mask on. Are you still having to wear masks everywhere in Vic?
Yeah, mandatory, man. And obviously,
Wow.
now Australia-wide on planes and airports, and it really. Look, some people like wearing a mask because they think it does something. Some people think it's a fucking fashion statement. What I don't like about wearing a mask is the fact that not every state is mandatory.
Yeah.
Looking at it from like a safety procedure thing, you do not wait until something bad happens before doing something about it. If you can if masks prevent the spread, make them everywhere because people travel. But
Yeah.
I don't know why it's down here. Like it's been mandatory since July here.
Yeah.
I think they've relaxed them again with you don't have to wear them in, I don't know, places with QR codes, but who the fuck checks in anyway?
But you should be. And once again, this just comes back to those inconsistencies. So, personally, I don't like wearing a mask. I had to wear them for a week or something up here, and
aren't they
that was
mandatory anymore up there?
No, we're back to as normal. They encourage us, but fuck. Encouragement and mandatory are two completely different things. I mean, I reckon when you go shopping or you head down to Bunnings, you might find maybe 5% of the people have got a mask on. So, but it's majority of the people just aren't. So, and I know the people. I mean, did you hear what they're saying now? Dr. Fauci in the States is saying that you should be wearing 3 masks or something. 3 masks would be more effective. So 1 mask is 85% effective or something, and 3 masks would make it 90%. Could you imagine having to wear 3 fucking masks? I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Fucking hard enough to breathe in one.
Yeah, so America's just a strange kettle of fish at the moment too. It's just really weird. I mean, Biden has just 33 executive orders or declarations since he got inaugurated. It's almost like he's fucking in a like he's just on speed demon. And one of the interesting things on Twitter at the moment is there's a hashtag that's called Biden regret, and all these people that voted for Biden that are now saying they wish they hadn't. So it's
funny. Have you seen the Bernie Sanders meme? How fucking funny is that?
But seriously, Matt, I mean, here we are at a presidential inauguration, and the most coverage that got was Bernie Sanders sitting there with his mittens on. Are we serious? I mean, this is it's just there's
anyway,
still so much more to play out over there. I can't wait to see it. So
there is. But yeah, moving forward, braces off Wednesday. And then I got Dad's anniversary is the week after, so I always get pizza, have a few drinks. So I'll do that. Might even have my first barbecue here, and then Fucking my team almost made the Super Bowl. I'm a Packers fan.
Oh,
We lost to the Buccaneers. Yeah, by
seriously, but
5.
how good's Tom Brady?
Yeah.
How good is Brady? I mean, 43 years old.
That guy's a machine.
And he leaves New England, where he's been with that coach his whole career. Comes to Tampa Bay, and the first year he gets them to the Super Bowl.
I thought it was his first season.
But one of the things that really impressed me about Tom Brady, and he's copped some flack of recent times for political views, but sports people are allowed to have a view or allowed not to have a view, and but Brady was interviewed straight up. So after the game, they're giving them the AFC or the NFC title, whichever one that was, and the commentators just done the quick, "Oh, Tom Brady, come on over here," and you could see that he was actually relatively uncomfortable being sort of celebrated in front of his whole team. And, he was polite and he answered a couple of questions. Then he said, no, let's get someone else out here. So he called out the coach or someone. And I just thought that was really humble. He didn't want the spotlight on him. It was, it was very much focused around his team. So I really... that impressed me because, Tom Brady is probably, I'd imagine, would he be the greatest of all time over there now in, like, NFL?
I'd say so, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd have to be close.
Tom Brady. Yeah.
Yeah. He'd have, like I remember when we... I remember when we went to Boston when we were over there once, and we've driven up from New York, and one of the billboards that we saw as we're coming into this into close to the center of town in Boston was this huge billboard, and they had a Tony Robbins conference or something, and it was Tony Robbins and Tom Brady, and seriously, the Tom Brady poster dominated the billboard, and Robbins was like this little character over on the side, and to me, that sort of I suppose is just a mark of the stature of the man in the New England area. So I don't know. If I was given the choice, I'd much prefer to be living in Tampa Bay in Florida than in Boston. I reckon the winters in Boston are pretty brutal. So
I've heard, so I watched the Super Bowl. I think I'm working, so I'll watch whatever I get home, and I'll watch the rest. But and then up to Canberra on the 13th to record, and then take it from there. I'll know when I'm up again, and like I mentioned earlier, I'm designing my EP, like the cover and everything. I'd already got someone to design it, but I'm now doing it myself, and the inside cover and doing all the lyrics. So that's sort of exciting because it's very, very time consuming, and making sure I get all the lyrics right. I don't want all these copies printed and then, oh my God, I've fucked up one of the lyrics.
Mate,
what have you got coming up?
I've just got I've got a little bit happening with the business, which is cool. So all of a sudden, kids are back at school. The phone's actually been busy with people wanting to get advice, support, coaching. So I think that's pretty much the positive thing. But I'm doing a couple of bits of study myself. So today was a day where I just sort of knuckled down, relatively knuckled down, and got some of that done. Tomorrow's going to be another day like that. And then next week I just got some pretty important meetings that I've got to nail off. So, hopefully coming out of COVID with a little bit more success than what we've been having in COVID. So, so watch the Super Bowl, of course. Who's your tip?
Probably, the Tampa Bay, of course.
Yeah.
With Brady.
Well, they're saying it's Kansas City, isn't it, playing Tampa Bay? And they've got that Patrick Mahomes. I'm sure it's Kansas. So it's Mahomes against Brady.
Brady. Brady.
And
Yeah,
it should be a really interesting game because Tampa Bay have got absolutely home ground advantage. It'll be very interesting. Hey, Bailey, we've run out of time. We've gone 31 minutes. We've had a little bit of lag tonight, so
we have. I'm just trying to look at how many people will be at the game. I know there will be people at the game, but obviously not as many as
they only had. Was it 9,000 they had at the Tampa Bay game and Green Bay? I'm sure it was only a very small number.
22,000 by the looks, and the NFL has invited 7,500 vaccinated healthcare workers to the Super Bowl for free.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. Good on you.
Yeah, so there'll be 22,000. And, before we go, I must say, I think I forgot to say on the last one, what you said to me New Year's Day, that podcast, that really has stayed with me. That you said when it's January 1st, 2022, when people ask you what 2021 was like, what are you going to tell them? And that's fucking, I don't know, that just blew my mind. And that's exactly like I was talking to you earlier about the guy who did 10,000 steps in quarantine. Fucking smashing it. Yeah. It's got me fired up when people ask me about 2021. Fucking 2021, my bitch. I'm going to kick its ass.
If we don't know what it looks like, Bailey, we've got no chance of having any sort of success. So we've got to know what it looks like. And, that's one of the statements that I'll actually make about Trump. When we think about at the end of the day, when all this is said and done and we look back in 10 years' time, the legacy of Trump is going to be immeasurably harmed by the crap that went on towards the back end of his presidency. I mean, if none of that had happened, there would have been some positive stuff. There would have been some achievements that he can call on. But when people think about Trump in 10 years' time, all they're going to think about is the Capitol insurrection. And that's why it's so important. We've got to understand that ourselves. How do I want to be remembered as a person? How do I want to be remembered as a manager in a business? And if we don't really take steps to visualize that, and it's like a year. What do I want this year to be like, and what do I want to be talking about in 12 months about what I did this year? And to me, it's part of the process, mate. So I'm glad it's had an impact. Hopefully, people that are listening to it have taken us away. Make the statement. What does 2021 look like? I've got no doubt. During 2021, we're going to continue to bring you the Bailey and Curly Unfiltered podcast. We'll see you all again next time for episode 15. Once again, always a pleasure, Bailey. You take care.
You too, Curly. See ya, guys.
Thank God that's over. If you didn't like it, leave a review to warn others, or share it with people you want to annoy. If you did like it, I'm sorry, you cannot be helped, so you may as well leave a good review. I guess the boys will appreciate it. As Curly would say, don't be an asshole. Hopefully, I won't see you next time. Goodbye.